All right, boys. You guys know what we're doing?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right. So I need you guys, John, you need to learn about the handheld printers with being in the sales department now. Daniel, you know what's up about them, and now you can show him all the different stuff. Everybody else gets a chance to see it too. We're going to record this, but I need you guys, you guys have had your beef, so I need to make sure you guys can be professional and all that stuff is squashed.
I'm good.
I can handle it.
I could tolerate here for about
All right,
5-10
fingers
minutes.
aside.
Just make sure you follow along.
All right.
All right. All right, guys. I'm counting on you. Here we go.
Hello guys, we're here at Sneed Coding Solutions. We're taking this opportunity right now to introduce John about some of our handheld printers. He's a little bit new to the sales force, so we thought it'd be a great opportunity while he's learning that we can teach you guys a little bit more about our handheld technology, what exactly it can do, and how it can benefit you as well. Make sure to like, subscribe, all down below, and then we can get this thing started. So here we have 3 of our handheld printers. This is the SneedCAST Titan T6 handheld printer, SneedCAST Freedom handheld, and the SneedCAST Titan T7 handheld printer. With this technology, they use thermal inkjet cartridges. Everything is contained inside of the cartridge. The printer, where the ink shoots out, is going to come through here as well. So very simple technology. All you do is take them out, pop them inside of the handheld printer, and then you have all your messages programmed in here. There's a screen on the side that you'll be able to program those messages and then later reference them if there's other files that you have to go back to. Very simple, easy, not a lot of maintenance required with this machine, so it should be good to easy to go. So once you get one of these printers in one of your hands, it should be an easy learning curve to get all set up and start your production. Any questions so far with that? John, you following along
I'm following
here?
along.
Okay.
I am.
So again, maintenance free, though there is one case that you want to make sure that you take good care of are these ink cartridges. With these ink cartridges, especially with the solvent based, you want to make sure not to leave those out after you're using them in production. Make sure to take them out of the printer, wipe them down with one of these lint-free wipes. With these lint-free wipes, they come with your order. After you take them out, you can place them on a little foam pad, and you're able to push down onto the ink cartridge and clean that print head. You'll get nice and healthy streaks. That means you really clean the ink cartridge well there.
So I noticed that you did say maintenance free.
Yeah.
As for the maintenance, what is there exactly that?
So exactly just with that process that I just showed you, that's the main maintenance with that cartridge. Because if those cartridges are left out inside that printer like I just did just now, and if it's lit inside the machine, left there, then air's going to get inside those cartridges, start drying everything out, and then you're going to start running into issues. But like I just showed you, it's a simple process. It doesn't take more than 30 seconds. So if you take those 30 seconds to take care of that cartridge, then you should be smooth sailing all the way through.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Sweet. And another question.
Yeah.
What would you do when you're not printing with the ink cartridge? Like say you're running your production line. Once you're done with your production line, you just have your handheld sitting there like that.
Yeah. So if you're not printing with the cartridge, then again, you take out that cartridge and pull everything out, wipe them down like I just showed here. Wiping those cartridge out, that gets all the old ink off of the print nozzles. And then it should be good to go. Clip it in here. And then this protects it from any of the air getting inside those cartridges.
Sweet. Cool. Cool deal.
Now, like I showed earlier, this is the screen that you're able to get everything programmed into. You're able to edit your files, create whatever message that you want to print. Really good for, if you're printing batch codes, date codes, all that good information that you want to put on your packaging. Then also with that, you do have QR codes, barcodes information as well. That if you wanted to program that into your message, then you're good to go. So with that explanation, showing it that it's really simple and easy to use. If you want to kind of just show everybody,
Yeah, sweet.
you're new, So let's just try and test, make sure you're able to handle that.
His name is Santos.
Wow, Daniel, it really is easy as 1, 2, 3.
And I was a little bit worried if you could handle that, but I guess you kind of showed us.
Okay, all right.
So just with that, the main differences between these printers, with the SNEED Titan T6 handheld printer and the SNEED Titan T7 handheld printer, they're very similar. They look the same. They also use the same ink cartridges. The main difference between those two printers is that the SNEED Titan T6 and T7 handheld printer can get up to 600 DPI, whereas the T6 handheld printer can only get up to 300 DPI.
And DPI meaning what exactly?
So that is the resolution of your print.
Okay.
So it's going to be using more ink as it's printing those messages. So if you're up to that 600 DPI, you're going to get a higher quality print.
Okay.
But you're also going to be using more ink out of those cartridges, so you might go a little bit through them a little bit quicker.
Sweet.
Now with just a 300 DPI, you're still going to be able to see a legible message, as you can see over there with what you printed. It's still a great message that you can print. Not just the DPI is the only difference with the T7 handheld. You also have the capability of transmitting variable data to it. So if there's information such as lot codes, date codes that you want to kind of go down through a message, like down a file of information, one after another, and that can just be on a text file, on a USB, and the printer will be able to go straight down that list to print one after another.
Sweet, sweet.
So those are these two models, the SNEED Titan T7 and the T6 handheld printer, part of the same series. With that printer, you do have multiple color options as well.
And by color options, what if a customer wants to use like a red? Is that something that you supply?
Yes, so we do supply that. We supply red, green, blue, yellow, white, and then we also have an invisible blue ink as well. So after you print onto that surface, you'll be able to see that with infrared light and be able to see that information there.
Sweet.
Now that's something a little bit simple. You probably should already know that, John.
Okay.
But
all right.
that's okay. That's why we're here. So
Maybe I need to get told twice.
yeah, so that way, when someone does call up, you can answer those questions.
All right.
So just want to make sure you're ready for that. So the one printer we didn't quite cover just yet was the SNEED Freedom handheld. This one's a little bit different. It's going to be a larger print head with this printer. With the SNEED Freedom handheld, it uses the same ink cartridges. So thermal inkjet, it's going to print directly onto the surface that you're printing on. And with this one, the print head is a 1-inch.
Okay.
So if you need that print to be a lot larger, especially in cases where you're printing on boxes, you need a barcode on there that's really large. So if maybe you're in the warehouse, you need to scan that code from a distance, it's a little bit easier to scan that if the print's larger.
Okay.
Again, super simple, easy to do. You have that cleaning process that you take care of. Don't leave the cartridges inside those printers. They'll dry out, and then you always want to wipe it down after use, start back up, you're good to go. All right.
Okay, so with this guy right here, does it have the same colors as the T6 and T7?
It does not. So with the SNEED Freedom handheld printer, the only options are black and red. Now with that black colored ink, we do have a solvent-based ink and a water-based ink.
Okay. And the difference between the water-based and the solvent-based is what exactly?
Good question. So with solvent-based inks, that's for items that are non-porous. And non-porous items are anything that's like plastic, glass, anything that, ink can't really sink into, and yet you're printing on the surface of that. Whereas with a water-based ink, it's going to be printed on something that's porous. So a corrugated cardboard box, paper, anything like that. The water-based ink does really well because it's just able to sink through that material. And again, T7, T6, they have those options available too. So if you're especially printing on anything corrugated cardboard boxes, those are great options for the printer as well.
Gotcha. And I noticed that this ink cartridge is much larger than the Titan
That's right.
ink cartridge. Why is that exactly?
Again, that's because that's a 1-inch print head. So if you have that
Oh,
larger print message.
I must have.
Yeah, I know.
I must have flew by that one.
Yeah, make sure you keep it long, okay?
Another question I have, I mean, you've been doing a lot of talking and not able to answer some of my questions that I got. But
Going a little too quick for you?
a little too quick for me. One step at a time. How would you program these handhelds?
Especially, for our viewers, anyone and our customers and you, we do have tons of tutorial videos that kind of showcase everything. So if you go to our help desk, those videos will show you step by step on how to get everything programmed. But all you do is there's an edit file, and it's a little bit different from the T6, but just a simple process as any other. And then you have different options here, such as like text, time, even counter variables. So maybe you need to start counting each print that you're doing just to keep track of how many items are actually going out. And then you have images. Now these are very basic images. They're bitmap monochrome file because it's not going to be able to print anything gradients just because it's only going to print one color and that's it. Then you have QR codes, barcodes as well, and that'll be all done here after you've created those messages. You just save that file, and then whenever you're printing your message, you can select the file that you've just created, and then you're able to just print the print mode, and then you pull that trigger, and then you roll across, just like you showed us a little bit earlier with that T6 handheld printer.
So say I don't find it as easy as others do. Is there anybody that can help me step by step through this process?
Most certainly. We have a technical service team. I know you've spoken to them a lot because some of those questions you've asked a couple times around here.
Maybe I got to ask 3 or 4 more times.
Yeah, definitely. So with yes, we do have a technical support team. They're always here to assist. You can schedule meetings with them. If after watching those videos, if you're a little bit lost, then they can cover those topics with you.
Okay, sweet. And another question I have is with the PC software.
So in some cases with the T6, T7 handheld printer, it does have a software that you're able to create messages from that PC. And then you could then upload that to a USB drive and then put that into the printer and then it'd be able to read that file. Otherwise, all of the programming can be done through the printer as that process is just as easy as it is doing it on the computer as well.
Sweet, sweet. So I noticed that we're doing a lot of printing on flat surfaces.
Okay.
Are these printers able to print on like a bottle, like a plastic bottle or a bag that's filled?
So exactly with how these printers work, there are rollers up at the front. So it does really well with the surface because there's an encoder wheel on the side that's attached to this rubber band because it is reading the speed at which you are rolling across that surface.
Okay.
So that it would print at the same speed that you're setting up that message.
Alrighty.
So no matter if you're going a little bit faster, a little bit slower, you're always going to have those same dimensions because of the encoder wheel. Now, if you have something small, it's going to be a little bit difficult because you don't have a full surface area to roll across. And then that's where we have a certain tool that comes in handy, and that's our surface adapter. Now, I don't exactly, oh, here it is. There we go.
How convenient is that?
Most certainly. With this surface adapter, this is your flat area. So on the side, you have a little bit of a handle grip that you can handle onto, and you'd be able to roll across that.
Sweet.
So if you have, especially with like an ink cartridge, I'm not going to be able to roll across it easily. I can just place that on top, roll across, and then print that message, and it's good to go.
Perfect, perfect. Seems like you know everything about everything, huh?
Hey, I just got to do what I got to do.
Okay, sweet. So I learned about the surface adapter. And what about if their product is wet?
So in that case, even if it's dirty, it does really well if that surface area is completely dry or there's no dirt on it either, because it is printing directly onto that surface.
Okay.
Now, if it's wet, it's printing onto the water, and then it's not going to be able to adhere to that surface because it's a solvent-based ink, and once it's applied to it, it's going to dry really quickly. So you got like 2 to 3 seconds within that time frame for it to dry. But if there's water added to that element, then it's not going to be able to dry.
Gotcha, gotcha.
And that's the same thing as if it were dirty. If there's powder over on top of it, it's printing on top of that powder. So if you wipe that across the surface, then that print's not going to stay there either.
Gotcha. Well, another question I have is, what are some real-world uses by our customers today?
Yeah, so we do have tons of different customers in different facilities, different types of production lines. In one of the major cases is, we have a lot of customers that are just starting out their production line, so they don't exactly have a conveyor line all set up. This is where a handheld printer comes in handy, because you're just able to get everything up and running, and you can print all that information that you need for your product, especially if you're running into regulations, or if you just want to have traceability with your products, such as like batch codes. So if you have any errors that need to get done, you can run back to that and trace those packages in case you need to do any recalls. But again, with a startup business, they don't have that production line all set up for them, so the printer can get everything up and running. Now, of course, later down that line, if they need to upgrade, then we do offer other solutions for that. If they need to then speed up that production. Now, with just the startup businesses, that could be the case that they need that handheld printer, but then there's also cases where customers already have a production line all set up, good for them to go. Then in some cases, maybe they need to recode their print. So if maybe they run into errors on their line, it print the wrong information, instead of taking back a whole bunch of product to the front of the production line to print all that information, they can use these handheld printers, run up to those products and print that information on the side.
Okay.
Then they don't have to worry about restarting that whole line and get everything all good.
Great.
Perfect. And then, with these handheld printers, they also do well with small production, because in some cases, you don't need maybe a conveyor line because you're not dealing with a lot of product. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to invest a whole bunch into a whole new line, whereas a handheld printer, you can just have everything done manually, and if you have a lot of people on hand to be able to do that, you can get that process all started up.
I just want to tell you, Daniel, despite me and you,
our differences,
you did help me out, and I appreciate you answering all my questions.
Hey, that's what I'm here for, here to help out you and along with our viewers. So I just, if there's any other questions that come through this, you always got me to come reach out to, but our viewers, please just reach out, 833-926-3464. You can give us a call. And if there's any of those questions that John asked, maybe there's more that you have remaining, we'd be able to answer those for you. And then along with reaching out to our email, which is sales@sneedcoding.com. So any questions, feel free to reach out, and then make sure to like, subscribe. That'd be much appreciated. Have a good one.